Welcome back to Global E-Commerce Unlocked. It is our final broadcast of the year. So what better way to wrap up 2025 by having both of our beautiful faces? It's great. I'll let Laura take it away to introduce some of the topics.
So the first topic will be myself with Ellie. We'll be talking about the reverse charge mechanism. So it's a really, really important element to get your head around. So make sure you tune into that.
And then next we have some info with me regarding our Shopify integration. So stay around for section 2 and you'll get that part.
And a really important topic that's been huge this year is the Italian guarantee. So if you're registered in Italy, you must have heard about it. And Khaled will be going through an important announcement for that.
Yeah. And then finally, we'll have Patrick, who'll be providing the all-important tips for Q1 2026 and maybe even Q2 as well. So stay around for that part. And then
we'll always have our Q&A session. So make sure if you have any questions, you can send them through during the sections and also at the end of the Q&A, and we can go through everything with you. So today we're going to be talking about quite a complex concept called the reverse charge mechanism. So this is going to affect cross-border trade, services, sale of services, imports, and even domestic transactions within the EU. So it is quite a complex topic. So if you have any questions, or maybe you have some example transactions that you want to double check, please put them in the chat, send us your questions, and we can go through those with you. So let's start simply by saying, what is the reverse charge mechanism when it comes to VAT?
Yeah, so a reverse charge mechanism is quite a broad term that covers a lot of transactions underneath it. But in essence, when we say reverse charge, we mean that the person that's receiving the goods is not necessarily paying the VAT.
Okay.
Even though VAT is chargeable, usually it will always be a business that's accounted for the reverse charge, and they're saying that the VAT on that transaction is both due and reclaimable at the same time on their VAT return.
So it's basically like you're doing the paperwork to track the VAT, but you're not actually having to pay it out.
Yes, so the VAT is still chargeable, but in terms of the actual cash flow, there's zero, because it's all offset at the point of the VAT submission of the person receiving the goods.
So it's really just to simplify the whole process of having to pay it, having to reclaim it back, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's beneficial for companies that are selling because they have to worry less about cash flow, collecting VAT, paying it. And it's also beneficial for tax offices that operate these mechanisms because they're not required to audit refunds so vigorously.
Okay, thank you. So how does the reverse charge work if we're looking at for example, transactions between two EU countries with two businesses?
Yeah, so if a business in one EU country was selling goods to a business in another EU country, providing they both have a VAT number and particularly the company that's receiving the goods has a VAT number that's valid on the VISE system, when they receive the goods, they can account for that VAT in the country that they're based in as both payable and reclaimable simultaneously, which also negates the person selling the goods having to register for VAT in the country that they're selling the goods to.
So maybe let's take an example. So let's say you've got a French company selling to a German company. So you've got two separate companies, the goods, maybe they're a supplier. So then sending those goods from France to Germany, how would that work?
Yeah, so the French company would issue the invoice without VAT charge. They just need to reference the applicable legislation on the invoice. But the German company that's receiving the goods, when they file their VAT return, they'd say, okay, I bought these goods. This is how much VAT is payable on those because I technically owe it to the tax office. But because those goods are for a business purpose and they're eligible for reclaim, I'll reclaim that at the same time. So no VAT is actually needing to be paid.
Okay, that's helpful, thank you. So what about cross-border services? So if you had, let's take the same example, that French company was maybe supplying marketing services, for example, to that German company, would it work in the same way?
Yeah, so for business-to-business transactions for services, they would always be taxable where the person receiving the goods is based. However, that could cause a lot of issues for the supplier of those goods if they're not VAT registered in all of those countries.
Yeah.
So actually this would extend beyond just the EU. So even a French company providing marketing services to a UK company would be able to apply this. So the UK company would account for the VAT on those services.
So it means that that French company wouldn't have to register everywhere that they're selling to. They just do the invoice, and how would that invoice look?
So the invoice would have the reverse charge stated on there that because it's for services and that VAT wouldn't be chargeable, but it would be expected that the company receiving it accounts for it domestically.
Yeah, so the UK company would say, okay, I've bought these services from a French company, but I'm not having to pay VAT because it is B2B transaction on service.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what about if the sale is within the same country? So we would call this a domestic reverse charge. How does it work then?
So only certain countries have this, but this basically means that that reverse charge doesn't have to be cross-border. It can happen within one country. So the requirements for this to apply will firstly depend on whether the country has applied to use it, if they're within the EU to the European Commission, or if it's something that's implemented domestically in that country.
So not all EU companies have a setup for a domestic reverse charge?
Yeah, so it would depend on the country. So there are some countries that have it, some that don't. We'll get into some examples. Yeah, but I think the key thing to note is that it means that if you are selling the goods as a non-established seller in that country, so if I was a UK company selling goods in France, because I'm not established in France, any B2B transaction, subject to requirements, I may not have to charge VAT on that transaction.
Okay, so to give like a practical example, you've got maybe a French company wants to buy some goods from another a supplier in France, but that supplier has a UK business, is operating as a UK business. Let's say they've got, some UK stock or made in the UK stock in France, and then the French company wants to buy that from the UK company because they're not a local company, the UK one, then the French company doesn't have to pay that?
Yeah, so they'd account for it under the domestic reverse charge. So this is quite complicated, and it's really important that when you're looking at applying this, you understand the rules in all the countries that you're selling in, and also understand the requirements because they can differ. But it is important. The main thing that you really need to know here is who you're selling the goods to, whether they are established in the country.
Yeah. And that you could see from where obviously the company is based, the address of the company, you would be able to see.
Yeah, so it's really important you do your due diligence, because the reason that the tax offices implement this is to reduce the VAT gap and to combat VAT fraud. Because if I'm not based in France, I have a VAT registration, but I'm not based there, and I sell goods to a French company with VAT on them. And you as a French company, for instance, then reclaimed that money from the French tax office, but I never paid it to the French tax office.
There's a gap.
Yeah, there's a big gap there, and actually the French tax office would then be losing money.
Yeah.
So by making that VAT not payable and therefore not reclaimable by the French company, because it wasn't paid in the first place, it minimises any risk for the tax offices as well.
Okay, that makes sense. So we mentioned that not all countries have the reverse charge. Is there a specific list of countries that do?
Yeah, so within the EU, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium and Italy have this standard version. And when I say standard version, I mean that the seller is not established in the country of the supply, but is VAT registered.
Yeah.
And the buyer is both VAT registered and established. One that has a slightly extended version, for example, is France. So the seller requirements are the same, but the buyer does not have to be established within France. So it would essentially be any B2B supply where the supplier is not a French established company.
So it's almost giving a sort of favour to local companies that are buying stock within the country, and they're not having to pay the VAT on top of the cost of the goods.
Yeah, so there's definitely a benefit there for the companies that are purchasing the goods because they're not having to pay and reclaim. So there's definitely the cash flow benefit. But the main reason the tax office do it is to minimise that VAT fraud.
Okay. So what about imports? How does the reverse charge apply when we're looking at import invoices?
Yeah, so we can definitely have reverse charges on imports. It works slightly differently because usually when you're looking at that, there's no supplier and buyer.
It's not always have a movement of goods. You're not always selling to someone in a next country. You might just be moving stock from your supplier in China into France or Germany, for example.
Yeah, so France actually is a really good example as well because they have this mandated. So if you are a VAT registered company shipping goods into France, you do not pay import VAT at the border. But when you submit your VAT return, it will automatically be declared because their VAT system is linked to their customs system.
Okay.
And the VAT is essentially, again, declared as due and reclaimable at the same time.
Okay. So essentially, at the import, it's a similar setup, where as long as you've got the VAT number, there are certain countries where you can import goods or, cross that border, and you just won't pay the import VAT. But obviously, there's still a declaration that has to be done in the background to account for that VAT.
Yeah, exactly. And the UK has it as a optional scheme, which I think a lot of people are very familiar with, where they can either pay it and reclaim it. Obviously, there's a gap in that they have to then wait for the money to get back. There may be an audit, or they can use the PVA scheme, so they don't pay anything at the border. But then it is crucial that when they submit that VAT return, they say that it is payable and reclaimable at the same time.
Yeah.
So that audit trail is still there in terms of administration, and the tracking is still there. So it is still crucial that you do that.
Yeah, of course. So it sounds like it's a really huge benefit, and in some cases you actually don't need to be paying VAT, or if you make purchases from certain suppliers or cross the border in certain countries, you actually don't have to pay VAT, or you just need to make sure obviously that you're doing the declarations properly. So if you do have some examples or some questions, send them through to us and we can have a chat, or you can reach out to us and we can go through in a consultation when your VAT should be being charged or not, and when the reverse charge is implemented.
And I would really add as well that this is not only if you're a supplier, but also if you're receiving goods. It's really important to know whether the invoice that you've received, if it has VAT charged on it, should that VAT have been charged to you in the first place? Because if your supplier has charged you VAT where they should have applied a reverse charge, you could face issues in audit once the tax office looks into that. And they may not give that money back to you. So it's really important that you're looking at this really holistically and understanding the rules on reverse charges in every country in which you have business.
Yeah, it's so important, obviously, to get it right the first time, because even if you've done everything correctly, if you have been charged and you can't get it back, then obviously you're at a loss, and it could be 20% or more. So yeah, really helpful. Thank you, Ellie. And please, as I said, send any questions through that you've got, and we can go through those with you.
At AVASK, we're excited to announce our new Shopify API VAT compliance integration, a smart, automated solution designed to make cross-border VAT reporting effortless. Staying compliant with VAT rules is essential, but manually handling sales data often leads to errors, delays, and unnecessary stress. Our integration removes those risks by automating the entire VAT reporting process so you can focus on what matters most, which is, growing your business. The new integration features automated data transformation, so the API pulls raw sales data from your Shopify store and converts it into accurate, compliant VAT reports. It also includes instant VAT return population, so your sales figures flow directly into the correct VAT returns, and there's no manual entry needed. We can also offer multi-store support, so whether you run one Shopify store or many, each fulfillment country is fully supported and configured. And there's also built-in B2B functionality. The system retrieves company names and VAT numbers automatically, keeping your records complete. And this works on all Shopify plans, so no matter your setup, you'll get accurate tax treatment and streamlined reporting. This powerful integration is just one of the many tools AVASK offers to simplify cross-border compliance. If managing sales data and VAT returns is slowing you down, now is the perfect time to partner with AVASK and let the automation do the heavy lifting.
From the 10th of April 2025, the Italian tax authority started requiring all non-EU and non-EEA businesses using a fiscal representative to provide a 50,000 VAT guarantee. For many businesses, this meant complex bank process and locking away 50,000 euros in a cash deposit up until now. AVASK now offers an insurance-based alternative to meet the 50,000 Italian VAT guarantee requirement. This innovative approach helps businesses avoid large cash deposits and complex bank processes while staying fully compliant with the Italian tax regulations. We are working in partnership with a leading Italian insurance provider to offer a fully approved insurance-backed guarantee recognized by the Italian tax authorities. With AVASK solution, you can avoid large cash deposit, skip lengthy bank procedures, protect your cash flow, and benefit from a reduced premium based on your risk profile. So here's how it works. AVASK and the insurance agent will assess your eligibility based on your Italian VAT payments and compliance. If you pass, you gain access to the insurance-backed guarantee without needing to pay the full 50,000 deposit. Do know that AVASK and Studio Carrara manage a 2 million facility for our fiscal representative service, but every business must still secure its own individual 50,000 guarantee. To stay compliant and to avoid penalties or a VAT number deactivation, we strongly recommend applying as soon as possible and contact our Italian VAT team today at italy@avaskgroup.com.
Q1 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most disruptive quarters we've seen in e-commerce. Costs are shifting, regulations are tightening, and customer expectations are accelerating faster than ever. Here's what the data tells us and what you should be doing about it. First off, 84% of e-commerce brands are now using AI for personalization, and 2/3 plan to increase their investment. Consumers increasingly expect these personalized experiences, and they reward brands that deliver. But at the same time, AI-driven bot attacks have surged by around 300%, hitting checkout, scraping data, and inflating security risks. To stay competitive, you need to deploy AI where it moves revenue. Tailored product recommendations, smarter search, and automated customer journeys. But you also need to upgrade your defense. Better bot filtering, fraud rules, and clear GDPR-compliant consent and profiling notices. Q1 is the moment to tighten both your AI capability and your AI responsibility. Secondly, social commerce is well on its way to becoming a multi-trillion-dollar global channel. This has not come without its criticism, however, with regulators now starting to take aim. In the UK, new consumer laws banning fake reviews and hidden fees are already live. In Europe, 4.5 billion low-value parcels hit the EU last year, driving major custom reforms, notably including the removal of the €150 threshold and adding new parcel fees. And the UK is preparing to close the £135 import loophole as well, which has ballooned to over £3 billion in small parcel imports. So if you sell through social platforms or marketplaces, Q1 is the time to clean up your pricing transparency, review moderation, and returns policies. If you rely on low-value imports or direct from Asia fulfillment, start remodeling your landed costs now, because the economics are changing fast. Also, make sure to strengthen your channel mix. Diversify where you sell, but make sure each channel is compliant and profitable under the new rules. And lastly, the EU's VAT in the digital age reforms have begun, representing the biggest VAT overhaul in decades. Platforms are facing new VAT obligations and more real-time reporting is coming. At the same time, both the EU and the UK now require marketplaces to report seller income directly to the tax authorities, affecting up to 5 million sellers. This means any mismatch between your platform sales and your tax filings will be obvious. So in Q1, review how that applies across your channels, especially if you use OSS, IOSS, or ship cross-border. Make sure your marketplace income matches your VAT and tax submissions, because authorities now have visibility you may not realize. And ensure your pricing, promotions, and sustainability claims meet modern consumer protection rules, as regulators now have sharper teeth and faster enforcement powers. In short, Q1 2026 is all about tightening what matters: smarter AI, cleaner compliance, transparent pricing, and accurate tax reporting. The sellers who act early will stay profitable and avoid the regulatory and cost shocks that will catch everyone else off guard. At AVASK, we can help you navigate the solutions required in 2026 and beyond. So our message here is simple: prepare now and you will win in 2026.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Welcome back. If you managed to make it this far, congratulations. And yes, now is the time that any questions that you have already asked throughout this video, throughout this broadcast, I should say, or if you have any others that you want to ask now, then now is the time. We will start from the top, obviously, and then make our way down. But I can see that Ellie has already answered some in the chat behind the scenes as well. So let me have a quick scroll up and see what has been done. We've got one right at the top which says, from Alan, hello. That's not a question, but
Hi,
we'll say hi to Alan as well. We have one here. I can see that Ben Hoosh has already been answered. We'll go with Cedar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, question from Cedar. All these reverse charge is taken care by Amazon, right? Do we need to do anything from our end as a seller? So if you've got B2B transactions happening on Amazon, you will have obviously Amazon doing some automation as long as you have your VAT numbers uploaded to your Amazon Seller Central. And then, of course, if your buyer is also a business purchasing from you, they will have to show their VAT number for that to be a B2B purchase. So typically in the Amazon reporting, they will show in the invoicing correctly, so you shouldn't have to worry. But in terms of the actual reporting, when you're doing your VAT filings, you need to make sure they're reported correctly as well. So Amazon is obviously doing part of it in terms of the invoicing, but there's still some left to do with the VAT reporting.
Hopefully that answered your question, Cedar, and hopefully we've not just gone over something that Ellie's already responded to.
Maybe.
But we've got one here from Erica, which says, hello, how does the reverse charge work for a British company sending the goods to a Polish delivery address with the bill to the customer being in Germany?
So just if I've understood correctly, I think Ellie might have answered this, but just to give an example for anyone listening. So you've got a British company sending goods to a Polish delivery address. The customer, so let's say maybe it's a German company, but the goods are being delivered to Poland. It will depend on a few things. So if this is a B2B transaction, so if the buyer is also a business, it will depend also who is the importer of record. So there's a few, I think Ellie's asked the same things there in her question, but there's a few elements that will affect whether VAT is charged on this or not. So there should be, you've got our contact details on the bottom of the screen there. So please feel free to reach out and we can actually have a call maybe on your activity specifically to go through whether that would be classed in the reverse charge or not.
Nice. One from Kristen that says, and I saw this one actually come through on your section, so we'll still give this one to you as well. But this one says, you just mentioned the VAT treatment for the imports to France. Is it correct that as a US-based LLC with a French VAT number, no import duty at all to France is possible anymore?
I think you're referring to the French import setup where you have a VAT number in France, you have an EU EORI number, and you do not pay import VAT. You'll still pay duties, but yes, that's correct. So it's open to all businesses as long as you have a French VAT number and an EU EORI number. You won't be paying import VAT in France.
And the only other thing is the regime 42, which is a change that's coming in next year. So that's same as like limited fiscal representation that you get in Netherlands. So currently you can move your products into France, and if they're not going to stay in France indefinitely, if they're only going to pass through France for like 90 days, then you don't have to pay any import VAT in France at that point. But that is changing for non-EU businesses as of next year. So maybe that was what you were referring to as well, but two different things there.
Yeah.
Which other ones do we have? So I can see Erica again. Scrolling back down. What do we have that's not being answered? Cedar, that one?
What's the cost for the Italian VAT insurance? So imagine you're referring to the Italian VAT Guarantee, which is the €50,000.
Yep.
Quite a hefty charge that a lot of sellers have been a bit concerned about this year. So we have implemented a solution for that. There's two different costs. So you have to do a credit check so that we can provide an insurance. So you don't have to pay 50,000. There's an initial cost for the credit check, and then there is the ongoing insurance representation, essentially. So there's two different costs there.
Can you remember what they are? I think the initial consultation is like €450.
Yeah.
And then the 3-year guarantee is 1,800.
Yeah. So it's an initial payment of I believe it's €450 or pounds.
Euros.
Yeah, sorry, euros. And then once you've paid that, the check has passed, the insurance company are happy to represent you. Then you'll pay what is a coverage of insurance for 3 years of €1,800. And then after that 3 years, as long as you've been up to date with your VAT payments, the authorities will consider that you are compliant and not needing the guarantee anymore. So you won't need it after that, which is good news. So an initial cost of $450 and then $1,800 for 3 years instead of 50,000. Yeah.
No brainer. Absolute no brainer. Okay. Which other ones do we have? This one is from Ellie. That one's from Ellie. Should we answer this?
Okay, Banush, please just confirm this for me. The amount that we are paying each month to Expert Global Compliance is sales tax collected.
Be a AVASK Global Compliance.
Sorry.
Just be a
is sales tax collected is not the fee for filing. So I think probably from my understanding of the question, you're looking at differentiating two different elements. So you've got sales tax and then you've got the filing fee. So there's a cost of a service to complete regular sales tax filings. So it's essentially a requirement that the tax office want you to do to report your activity. And then you have the actual tax that you pay. So AVASK are not paying tax on your behalf, but we are completing the filings. And so you're paying us for that service. If I've understood the question correctly. If not, please,
that's how I understood that. Yeah. It's like every product that you sell into the UK. So if you sell even this sofa that Laura's sat on, then the UK sales VAT, the tax is 20%. So 20% of that sale will go to the UK tax authorities. So that's the tax that you're paying to sell the goods in the UK. But then additionally, if we were your tax agent in the UK, then we would have to send the tax reports to the tax authorities, and then there is a administrative cost attached to that, which is the filing fee, which is what you're paying in this instance. So hopefully that clarifies it anyway. We've got another one from Henry Park just here. This one says, for new sellers, the VAT Italian insurance, how does that work based in the United States?
So if you're a new seller, it's actually the same for new sellers and for existing sellers who already have VAT numbers. If you're a company that is not based in the EU and you want to either maintain or register an Italian VAT number, you need to have either the €50,000 guarantee or a bank guarantee insurance policy in place. that the Italian tax office will accept. So that's really the requirement. So you, if you're based in the US, obviously it's a non-EU company, and so you would be required to have a solution for the 50,000 or a deposit of 50,000 euros.
Yeah. So naturally, I mean, like 10 times out of 10, you're going to pick the insurance guarantee over parking 50,000 euros.
Exactly.
So yes, hopefully that settles that. One other thing that I should mention is that in order for us to provide the Italian insurance guarantee, we would have to be your VAT agent in Italy first.
Good point.
So we cannot do this for you if we are not your tax agent, because it requires us being your fiscal representative.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we would have to be your tax agent. So if you currently have Italian VAT with a different company, maybe a different tax provider, you would have to move it to us first before we can offer this service. Yeah. So hopefully that just answers that question a little bit more succinctly. Martin Hughes says, we have been charged VAT for a service by a Spanish company. We are UK based, but they are adamant that they need to put VAT on the invoice, which we think is incorrect. Who is in the right?
So this is a good question, because it will depend on if you have a Spanish VAT number. So typically you would be able to put the Spanish VAT number on that invoice or provide that to them. I would have to double check which, as the session with Ellie, it depends. Some countries have specialist regimes where actually they will favour the Spanish company and you will have to pay that and then reclaim it. It just depends on the country, so I'd have to double check that. However, if you have a Spanish VAT number, actually typically it would be cross-border, so I would imagine that it wouldn't be charged. So this is actually a really good question. I would think that if you could send us a copy of the invoice, we could have a look at that for you. It might be that, they are incorrect, but obviously, some suppliers may not be fully clued up equally on, the processes of VAT. So more than happy if you'd like to send at the email just on the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to send a copy of that invoice, we can have a quick consultation call and clarify on that for you.
It's also important to note, because it just says we have been charged VAT for a service. We could be Martin and one other person who are both individuals, or we could be Martin, who is the owner of a company.
I think,
which would be
UK
different.
based.
Is it
UK based? Yeah, exactly.
Or is it business to business?
Yeah, that's a good point. So if it's two businesses, like we said before, that would then alter the obligations.
I could see that Ellie's also answered that one. Okay, let's do some ones that Ellie hasn't done. Whatever do we have? See there. Ellie, hi, Kristen. I think that's it for now. Hey. Yeah, that's currently it. That's not answered. If there are any others that you want to send across in the meantime, then of course, feel free to. We are, well, as you can see, we're still here. So feel free to ask whatever you want. What do you want to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of topics we've gone through. So, I think the questions that I've asked, often it's quite specific. And that's why I think sometimes it's so much easier to just have someone on a call, because there'll be a lot of variables. Like we said, is it a company? Where's your company based? What platform has the transaction taken place on? That all of these things can change where that has to be charged. So I think sometimes it's easier, like I said, just to get on the phone.
Yeah, I can see with this one, with Ben Hoosh, they were talking about let's load that one up.
Yeah.
So that is a follow-up to what we were talking about before with Ben Hoosh, referring to the payments we made to AVASK. The amounts we paid to Expert Global each month for France. So yeah, it's talking about the filing fee. So it wasn't talking about the sales itself. Yeah,
I think often there's a confusion with, obviously you're paying for a service, but a question that I get asked all the time is VAT, or are my contribution fees for EPR, for example, are they included in the fee? And typically when you're paying for a service, it doesn't include what you're then having to pay to the authorities. So it's just something to keep in mind.
It's when you're like when you're selling a product and then you're paying for the sale of that product, but then you're also paying to report the tax for that sale for that product.
Yeah. So when you're calculating your obviously the cost price, and then shipping price, insurance, and then you have the service fee on top of that, and then you have Amazon fee, like it all adds up. So I think it's really important to consider when you're looking at your markups.
Well, if there's no others, then what do we do from here?
Yeah, like I said, if there's any more questions, put them in the chat. But otherwise, you've got the contact details, so feel free to reach out. As we said, sometimes it's nice to just have reassurance, clarity. We can send you also all the legal terms. If you, for example, that Spanish supplier, if you wanted to show them the Europe Commission legalities, so that you can go back and forth and really clarify as to when VAT should be charged, we can also provide you with those, which are not always easy to find. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, so Martin, with that one that you were asking about, the Spanish company, I would say that one needs some more digging into.
Yeah.
So yeah, please get in touch with us regarding that one, and we can go ahead and answer that for you. There is another one here from Seda, actually, just before we wrap up. Two. So Seda says, when do we need to apply for Italian VAT insurance? Where's my mouse gone? When do we need to apply for Italian VAT insurance? You already need to apply for Italian VAT insurance, Seda. The messaging for this, I would say it went out in like June, July, when the Italian authorities first decided that they were going to do this. And then at that point, they said that there was going to be 3 months before they started enforcing it. So that was end of August, end of September. And then from there, they said they were going to start delisting people from selling in Italy and deregistering people's VAT numbers. I personally don't know of anybody.
It's not, well, it depends on which Italian tax authority you're registered with.
Okay.
So currently clients with us with existing VAT numbers have not received any warnings or any sort of notifications to say, where's your guarantee? But there are other tax offices who have informed their sellers that are registered with them that they need to comply. So, it's going to be immediate if you're doing a new registration, but if you already have an Italian VAT number, it will depend on your tax authority. However, it's only a matter of time, and that's
before they clamp down on all of them.
Yeah.
So technically, it is already in place.
Yes.
And if you are applying new, then you will need it. But as I say, I've not seen any of my clients at least, that have been told that they're going to get deregistered if they don't have it. But as Laura mentioned, it's only a matter of time before this gets rolled out. We've got another one from Ben Hoosh Abassi, which says, can you tell us more about that integration to Shopify? Yes. So we now have a Shopify integration, which will work for both self-serve and premium clients. So if you're selling on Shopify, you can go into your Shopify settings onto your account, and then you will also be able to integrate your client portal, your AVASK client portal, with Shopify. The two will be nicely married up, and then we can pull your sales data directly from Shopify onto your client portal, and it'll get formatted into the type of reports, the accounts that the tax authorities need, and we can just simplify everything that way. So yes, it's active now, it's live now. Our indirect tax consultants can work with it. So as I say, just like the Amazon API that we've had for years, it's the same thing, but now it's also on Shopify, and it works across multiple stores as well. So if you're a Shopify seller that's got one hub, but then has multiple different stores from that one account, then it will link across all of them. So it just makes things a little bit easier. I don't know how much more detail you want than that, to be honest.
It's very straightforward, as Lewis said. So feel free to check that on your AVASK portal.
Nice. Hopefully that answered your question, Ben Hoosh. And we've got one from Juan Campos, which says, you shared a QR code with discounts for the Christmas season. We did. Where can I find the actual and current prices for VAT, EPR, OSS, etc.? I cannot find them neither in the website nor through that QR code link. Well, let me show you this one. Ta-da! On there, you can go and you can use the URL and you can treat your business this holiday season. Check out our exclusive offers and start saving with AVASK holiday savings. That was an advert. And if there are any, I don't know where the QR code is, it'll probably be on that website. So if you go and click on that website itself, you can go scan it, you can go onto your phone, you can fill out the contact form. And you can also just email inquiries at avasgroup.com, and then we'll give you the most up-to-date prices. Originally, it was a Black Friday promo, but now we've extended it until the
end of December.
So Merry Christmas. The next one is from Henry Park, which says, do you need to have UK and EU company to sell on Shopify as a United States company? No, you do not. Do you want to expand on that?
I'm not completely sure on the...
No. Do you need to have a UK and EU company? So, like, do you have to be incorporated?
Oh no. So if you're selling, if you're incorporated in the EU, in the UK or in the US, and you want to sell on Shopify, you can do that in any country. You don't have to be incorporated in a specific country to sell on Shopify. It just depends where you're storing your stock, where you're shipping your stock to and from. But I think maybe you're confusing with TikTok, where we've seen a lot of restrictions, but Shopify is basically just a platform where you can set up your own website, create your own website, and you can do that as any company. Yeah.
I thought that was a comma rather than a full stop.
No, that's a full stop. Yeah, so you shouldn't have any issue setting up a Shopify account as wherever your company's based. You just need to obviously make sure that you have all the details on your Shopify account as to what company is linked with that account.
Nice. One Campos, but there are no prices on that link.
So yeah, if you can't see the prices on the link specifically, we can send you self-serve and premium pricing if you just email inquiries directly.
Bavit says, can you send me recorded video? Yes.
The recording of this broadcast will, I believe, be sent out to all subscribers. If not, you should be able to access it directly on YouTube after
it goes up on LinkedIn as well, doesn't it? Yeah. So yes, we can. The next question is just a question mark, and the next question says, could you send me recorded video I missed?
Yeah. You'll be able to find the recording, no problem. Yeah.
That's his email. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, so the recording of this, obviously the whole session today will be available online for you to rewatch, and you should get an email as well. So you'll be able to rewatch it in your own time.
As you can tell, there's a lot of time, money, and effort that goes into the production value of something like this. So we do like to make sure that it goes out to everybody who does want to rewatch it.
Any more questions before we finish? I know it's a nice time for you guys to, speak to us directly, other than on the phone. It's nice to be able to communicate with you all. How can we apply? Great question. So
what do you want to apply for?
Yeah, that of course could be any end to that question. But if you want to apply for AVASK services,
UK REACH license.
That is something I've not heard of very commonly. Is it maybe related to customs?
No. It's to do with it's like EPR, but EPR times 10. So it's to do with the composition of plastics, and it's to do with steel and wood and textiles and rubber,
like the components of your product.
Yeah. It's product compliance, but it's to a really granular level. So oftentimes the manufacturers themselves will have one of these. So if you are a manufacturer, you will likely have a REACH license, or if you don't, maybe you should have a look into it. We do have partners that can do it. It's not something that we do in-house, but if you want to, again, send an email to inquiries@avasgroup.com. Say that you want to speak to Lewis Sweeting, and then with that, I will put you in touch with one of our approved partners who can assist with this.
Yeah, perfect.
Emily, who we spoke to the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's all good. And yeah, Henry Park filled it out there.
Product compliance.
Product
exactly,
compliance. You would need to talk to your manufacturer, ask for testing. Yeah. So we work with a couple of different providers that do testing like this, internationally renowned ones. So yeah, if you want to send us an email to inquiries@avaskgroup.com, say that you want to speak to me about that. It's lewis.sweeting@avaskgroup.com. Sweeting is just sweet, ing. And then I can point you in the right direction of the people that you need to speak to for that. So yes, Bhavit, we can help with that, absolutely. Whew.
Oh yeah, there's Lewis's email. Perfect.
That's me.
Any more questions?
Any more for any more? Oh, there's another one here. But I am based in India and now I'm selling my goods in the UK via Amazon and product compliance like Reach and UK VAT needed.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously, I imagine you're registering your Amazon account, and Amazon are asking you for these elements. I mean, technically, you can distance sell into the UK, but I would suggest UK VAT, so you can store, use FBA, have better delivery, Prime, and things like that. And then, as Lewis said, for Reach, again, speak to your manufacturer, or if you're manufacturing your own goods, it might be something that you would need to do anyway. So
I've not had it where Amazon have asked for that though before.
It might be specifically because of the product that they're selling. To be honest, I'm never surprised with Amazon. There's always new things that they're asking for, but I've not heard that either. But it could just be specifically the product that you're trying to sell or to store in their warehouses. It's a specific product and they need to have certain certificates. that might be the case as well. Often when Amazon send communications, sometimes it's not always clear. I don't know if you've seen that with clients, but sometimes they forward me things that Amazon have said and they have all this, it sometimes can be quite almost scary of you need this, you need this, you need this.
Isn't it?
And then at the end, it's if this applies to you. So sometimes the seller is, really concerned, understandably, because they don't want to get blocked.
Yeah.
But actually, when you get to the end, if this concerns you, and actually it doesn't concern you. So always, if you're unsure, you can forward Amazon communication to us. It's helpful for us as well to see things that Amazon are asking for. But sometimes it doesn't actually apply to you.
So Bhavit, just to recap on that one, Amazon themselves will ask for the VAT. The VAT is the first thing that you will need in order to store your products within the UK. So that can be in fulfillment centers in the UK that are owned by Amazon. So using Amazon FBA or using your own 3PL or, well, it's not your own 3PL because that would be just a 1PL, but this is a 3PL, third party logistics warehouse. So if you're using either of those, then you will need a VAT number to store your products in the United Kingdom. When we apply for a VAT number, we'll also help you get an EORI number as well. So an EORI number is the number that you need to clear customs when the products arrive at the UK border. So the EORI number to clear customs, the VAT number to store the products in the UK. And then once they're in the UK, obviously you can then sell to the 70 million people who are in the UK as well. And the products will be delivered to them usually within 1 to 3 days. So nice and quick. And that's, what's to be expected from the UK market. That's just what UK shoppers are used to. So that's the main benefit of that. Cheap fulfillment fees, quick fulfillment times, happy customers, easy returns, all of that jazz. The Reach thing, as I say, you'll have to get in touch with me directly about that. But I can see that you've also sent a follow-up question here when the mouse works, which says, so in my case, Indian manufacturer provide me the Reach certificate. Maybe. If they have it, yes. If they don't have it, no. If they are the manufacturer, it's usually their responsibility to get this because they are the ones who are creating this product. And it's about, as I say, the compositions of the goods themselves.
Yeah, product safety, all those things, yeah.
All of that stuff. Your other questions confused me, so let me just load that up. I understand UK VAT and EORI part. Thank you for that. I am confused about Reach. Yeah. As I say, if you're not the manufacturer if you are not the manufacturer yourself, you'll not likely need this. But you know, if it is something that is being asked of you, then you can contact the manufacturer to see if they have it. If they don't have it, then and you're the person who's bringing the goods in from India to the UK, and you're the only person who has these goods, then you might have to get your own REACH certificate. As I say, get in touch with me and we can figure that out together. Sasna Mohdeen says, can I please get the video as well? And Ellie has responded, which says, hi Sasna, we will share the recording via email with everyone who registered for the session, or you can watch it on our YouTube channel once the broadcast ends. Hopefully that answers that question, and
Perfect.
there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasna. Thank you. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, a lot of interesting questions. Thank you. It's nice to also see what the confusion is about, because, you know, we speak to sellers every day, but it's nice to get live to see what your feedback is and what questions you're asking as well.
Yeah. I think as well, because we often speak to just a specific portion of people who are looking to expand, whereas some of these questions are more like, once I have expanded,
Then
here are some of the things which I'm now being met with. Henry Park says your manufacturer should have testing partner if they don't have the certificate. Yeah, so I've seen some people use companies like SGS and Tuvsud and those types of people to do testing. So again, we can put you in touch with them if you don't have their own, if the manufacturer themselves don't have their own certificate. Tuvsud or SGS can help you get that certificate so you can sell into those markets. They can help you get the relevant what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, certificates, registrations, compliance piece for like 97% of the world's countries. So yeah, if it's something specific that you need, let us know.
Another question about Canada.
Do you provide Canada services?
Not currently, but like I said, for REACH requirements, we do have partners that we can recommend. So feel free to contact us still, and we can put you in touch with, you know, the recommendation that we have for Canada sales tax.
Yeah. So what Laura means is yes, but it's not in-house. It's not AVASK.
We have a recommendation, but we wouldn't contract it ourselves.
Yeah. Nice.
Any more questions?
It's a good job I didn't end it when I said earlier, because that was about 20 minutes ago. I was like, there isn't anything else. We should wrap it up. And then there's been an absolute influx of questions.
Yeah, sometimes people are shy to ask questions, I think, but once the ball gets rolling. Nice. Wow.
I think we give it another 30 seconds or so.
Should we do a countdown?
Yeah. 29, 28. No, but if there is anything that comes up after this broadcast has gone out, you know, if there is anything else that you want to Bav it again. Okay, let's go for it. In Germany, can you provide CPNP? What's that?
Yeah, that's not a term I've heard frequently, I'll be honest. Oh.
And Germany label reviews.
Maybe packaging, labeling.
I don't know what CPNP is.
I imagine it's related. If it's labeling, it'll be related to what you need to put on the packaging. So recycling symbols, safety symbols, essentially what your packaging needs to look like to be able to be compliant in that country. And packaging service in terms of the actual composition of the packaging and what labeling you need to put on there is, again, not a service that we provide internally, but working with a lot of partners as we do, we would be able to recommend you someone. Product compliance, yeah.
CPNP is for cosmetics product registration.
Yeah, so making sure that you obviously have the correct ingredients.
Rubicon Bridge will do that.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
We can,
yeah, send us an email.
Yeah.
We can point you in the right direction. It's not something that's handled in-house, but just because of the nature of the industry that we're in, obviously we help with VAT, tax compliance, OSS, IOSS, EPR, customs, logistics, all of that. But when it comes to e-commerce and selling internationally, there are so many other things that you need to be aware of as well when it comes to labeling, responsible person, GPSR, intellectual property, digital product passports, you name it. Like search engine optimization, there's all sorts of different stuff that you can focus on. We're specialized in a very small niche of the industry. But yeah, if you've ever got any questions and maybe it's not something that is covered by us, the likelihood is that we know probably 5 different people who can cover that service. So we can provide you with all of their contact details. You can go and shop around, get the best quote, and then decide on which one is going to be the right service for you as well.
Yeah.
Bhavit, I can see that you've put your email on there, but if you don't mind just sending an email to us instead, because I won't have access to this after I close it. So if you don't mind just sending an email to that at the bottom, inquiries@avaskgroup.com, which has just popped up, then we'll be able to discuss that in more detail. All right. Nice. And I can see that Eamon said thank you very much as well. Thank you, Eamon. I know that you always come on, so it's nice to see your name again. Right. Cool. Should we wrap it up from there?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. Pleasure as always.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And a Happy New Year, because this one's going to be the last one of the year. So we'll see you in 2026 next time.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. All the best.